And I hope this becomes our homeroom computer club. What is this thing? Here we go. So my name is Carl Krantz. I'm the founder of Silicon Valley Virtual Reality, along with my partners, Danu Usui and Cymatic Bruce. We want to welcome you to the first Silicon Valley Virtual Reality Conference and Expo. I love this video because it highlights how much can happen in a year. Everything on that video happened in the past year. Exactly 1 year ago, a group of us met in a much smaller classroom right down the hall in this very building for the very first Silicon Valley Virtual Reality meetup. And we met there for two reasons. We were passionate about virtual reality, many of us for decades, and we understood that something very significant and important was happening. For the first time, virtual reality had become affordable. It become accessible. For the first time, we could experience it, we could experiment with it in our own homes, and we could explore this medium on our own terms. And that's important. It may be the most important innovation in virtual reality yet. Because it means more eyes are on the problems, and there's a lot of problems to be solved. Latency, motion sickness, resolution, input, locomotion, a lot of problems to be solved. And a lot of smart people have been working on these problems for a long time. Now we have an order of a magnitude more people building on the knowledge and innovation of those who have come before us. So over the next few days, we'll see the early fruits of that innovation over the past year. We already have a thriving ecosystem forming here. And the most important thing we have here is our sense of community. And that comes from having a shared passion, a shared mission, and from sharing experiences. One of the most interesting things about virtual reality is sharing experiences and the camaraderie that comes with us. So while we have a lot of fun toys here, don't just play with the toys, talk to the people. Because this industry and this community will never be this small again. It'll never be this intimate again. And remember that none of this would have been possible last year. So just imagine what will be possible when we come together again next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Those are moving words. The guy inspires me so much. I would also like to welcome everyone. This began as a conversation in the Starbucks over a year ago. We should do something that gets the community together. And now we're here. So whether you're here to show and tell, to learn, or perhaps to invest, remember that we're not just here to plant the seeds of future VR careers, but you're also here to put your mark on what may be the final platform. This is what we're all excited about. This is virtual reality, that you can be anything and go anywhere, or perhaps be anywhere, do everything. I'm not sure. You'll decide that. I am Cymatic Bruce, a VR evangelist. Also, I am contributor Road to VR, co-organizer at SVVR, and recently developer relations guy over at Quality 3D, a new VR startup, which you'll surely hear more about today. I'd like to welcome you all. We're going to get this party started. Is everyone ready? All right, so I'll be your MC and frequent moderator, and the first thing that we have on the menu is 60-second pitches. So for all of you that know that you're doing a 60-second pitch and have not yet got a number of your order, the back table directly this way in the rear of the room There are stickers with a name, a company, and a number, so you have the order in which you'll go. We're going to be lining up people starting here and around the room all along the wall this way. We should have about 40 people. You have numbers on your name tags, little sticky name tags, so get those, and I trust that you can sort yourselves in order in a timely fashion. Fourth graders did it in 5 minutes. Let's see better. Excellent. The 60-second pitch format is going to go out that. You're going to have 60 seconds to talk about whatever you are doing here at SBVR. There's going to be a timer probably behind you that'll be starting at 60 and counting down. Once you get to 10, I'm going to give you a 10-second warning. And once you get to 0, I'll be like, get off the stage. It's meant to have some high energy and also to get to know what exactly is going on here at SBVR. So without further ado, let's go ahead and if you don't have a sticker with a number, get it. And if you already do, this side of the room, sort yourselves in order from 1 to 45, roughly. All right, excellent. We'll be back in just a couple minutes, and then we'll get this party started. Excellent. Thank you.
This part? You should, you mean? No, how I go about it. They're coming up the stage. Oh. That's what we got it. Have the, I think they should get up the podium where they have a mic. Wow. Pretty good for a Monday morning. I'm going to go. I know, huh? It's all you, man. Good job.
It was awesome to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Oh,
cool. Yeah, thank you. I know, I never heard of a big speakers like that. No, that's Carl. I pulled it up the first meetup here. It was kind of like archival voice footage, you know? Yeah, kind of like Tempest style. Yeah. That's kind of what we went up to, like, this is like VR's period. Even though we're in it, it's like they're gonna look back and it's gonna be like Atari, you know, right now. Yeah. Well, that's lower, buddy. I'm glad you like it.
But yeah, I ran into the theater.
Oh yeah. He's running the company. He's there for like last almost more than 12 months, right? Up, like they can't. You know what's sucks? They can't really say. They can, but they're always talking around like a big elephant, and like there's a big gap in their story to tell. But it's really cool, right?
I didn't get it signed up for time.
I know. But I was so busy helping them set yourself like, I didn't know there was a limit on it. I figured, you know, this route.
All right, looks like most people have grab tags sorted in order. Very, very good. Excellent. There's quite a few people haven't grabbed tags yet, so if you have some strike of inspiration you want to get at the end of the line, there's a few blank tags you can do right now. We probably won't have time to get through everyone. No promises. All right. You're gonna set the clock. 1 minute. It's gonna wind down. Once again, once you have 10 seconds left, I'll give a 10-second warning. And then you're gonna get off the stage. I will be standing right here comfortably to make sure you're extra nervous. Okay? Awesome. Excellent. Are you ready? Let us begin.
And super excited to be here. I don't think this is a small group. I think it's just undiluted. I think we have a lot of really amazing and talented people here. A lot has happened. I got 50 seconds. A lot has happened over the past couple of years. It's absolutely astounding to watch the pace of virtual reality maturing. And we're going to look back in a couple of years and realize how much in its infancy VR was when we came to the first SBVR conference. So thank you for your enthusiasm, and thank you for actually having the guts to put some skin in the game. Everyone in here, I would argue, is a visionary because you understand how this is a new medium. It's not a new device, it's not a new platform. And VR, as we understand it today, is not VR. VR is going to grow. We're going to have new input and output modalities. We're going to have new experiences that we haven't thought of before.
10-second warning.
I'll share a really quick experience. The first thing that really changed my life was connecting with another person through VR. I expected it was going to be a technology, but it was an experience. So keep that in mind. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with.
I love you. Get off the
Great
stage.
show.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Josh, and I'm from Cubicle Ninjas, and I have to follow up Oculus. So we're actually here for two reasons. Cubicle Ninjas is a design and development house for mostly big web apps and motion things. So why the heck are we here? Well, one, we're actually debuting today a guided meditation application. So if the show gets a little bit too much, you can just come by our booth, relax on a beach, and enjoy your day. And the second piece of that is actually we're starting to help a lot of our clients. Consumer, I want wonderful, amazing experiences. And as a design agency, we actually help that happen. So we've been helping a lot of our clients, find VR, find their voice in VR. So if you're kind of in this space and you're saying, I want to build an app, but I don't know how, we'd love to have a chance to throw our hat in. So once again, Josh, Cubicle Ninjas, have a great day. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ken Pai with the Voices of VR podcast, and it's kind of a funny story because I was going to pitch another project, but the project is mostly an idea, so I said, I can't do that. I've done like 350 other podcasts and other domains, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to jump in and do the Voices of VR podcast. So I've already done four episodes, and here at the conference, I'm going to be doing anywhere from 20 to 50 interviews, so I'll be releasing them oneatadayvr.com.
I'm Matt Carroll. I'm the inventor of Stomps. For 5 years, I've been working on a way to allow people to run and walk inside of virtual reality. I've come up with So now not only is this a seated alternative to virtual exomy or the an omnidirectional treadmill, it is also all of the sensors that we pack into an iPhone for all of these devices. Now, everything automatically, and it is used for gesture recognition, motion capture, and you can just automatically plug it in without any knowledge of hardware. 14 seconds, good. I've collected a really good team. We've got a Kickstarter coming. So thank you guys. Check me out. I got a booth over there in the booth next to the.
Hello, my name is Aaron Lemke. I'm a musician and developer from Austin, Texas. I've been releasing games as Lunello Design, and I've got this nice little shirt to prove it. That's me. Thank you. So far, I've played 4 games: Waking Man, Fire Breather, Eden River, Moon 37, so maybe you've seen those. Right now I'm working on an HD update to Eden River, and that'll be over in the exhibit hall if you want to come by the booth. I'm right across from Sony. I'd love to talk to you. Let's see, 30 seconds. I'm also working on a game called Opera Nova. That's sort of like VR Fantasia. So if you like the sound of that, come by and ask me about it. You can check it out. It's got some really cool spatial audio going on. So that's very cool if you're an audio guy. If you like audio or if you like nature, come talk to me. I'll be here. And also, I'm going to be on a panel tomorrow about independent VR development, moderated by Mr. Bruce over here. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you there. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Don Bland. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of Six Sense Entertainment. Six Sense was started in 2007 by a group of enthusiasts, experts, and engineers in the world of VR, entertainment, gaming. Bonus. So, anyway, I want to say that what we do is try and bring presence into what you do in VR. So we're all going to put on HMD, whether it looks like the ones today or in the future. But at Six Sense, we want you to bring your hands and your body and bring you presence into the world of virtual reality in a way that technology disappears. And we'd love for you to come by and check out our booth and have a great conference.
Million people in the world. It's a pretty serious problem. If you can't really give eye contact to people. You can't be a professional driver. In my week, I gained 3D vision for the so we'd love to tell you more about it. So yeah, we'd love to tell you more about it. We have a booth set up. You can try it out, explain how it works. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Will Pravancher. I'm the founder of Tactical Haptics. So virtual reality has come a long ways, and there's lots of people working on head-mounted displays. There's lots of people working on the tracking solution. You can now gesture around and look around, but when you reach out, there's nothing there, or at most there's a buzz. And so what we're doing is we're focusing on creating more tangible physical interaction once you're gesturing onto the world. The way that we're doing, we're moving a little slide. You would feel as if you were gesturing out into the world. If you haven't tried our technology, come on over to our booth area. It's at the entry to the VR demo space, and maybe you'll give us a try and think on Tactical Haptics for your physical, tangible interaction solutions. Thanks.
I'm Blair Renault with Iris VR. I'm working on a little game called Technolust right now. It's a cyberpunk adventure based on like a dystopian near future. Photo scans, suicide girls, and all that kind of fun stuff. Got another couple projects on the back burner that are top secret right now, so keep an eye out for us. And that's it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Vlad Kichevich, and this is Josh Carpenter. We're both from Mozilla, and we're really here to learn because we want to figure out what the intersection of the web and VR looks like. We believe that the web is one of the best content delivery methods out there, and we want to make sure that VR is a first-class citizen out there. So we want to make sure that the browser is ready for the technology pieces, just like we brought 3D to the web. We want to bring VR to the web. But we also want to make sure that the interaction models are there. What does it feel like to interact with the web in a VR space? That's really what Josh's going to be focusing on. So.
Yeah, we just came off of 2 years of taking the web and actually building a mobile operating system on top of it, which no one thought could happen. Vlad's humble, but he invented WebGL, and the web right now is an amazing place where you can actually deliver AAA gaming titles and performance on the web. So we think it's an amazing platform. We believe in VR. We believe in just coming here to learn from you and see what you guys need from them. So, thank you. Look forward to talking to you.
Hi, I'm Frank Edward Nora. I'm a member of the New York City Virtual Reality Meetup who came all the way out here. My project is called Night Station, and it was actually 40 years ago. I can't believe this, but 40 years ago that I first experienced something like virtual reality. And it was like going into another world. When I came home to New Jersey, there was nothing like that. And the rides were always too short. So my dream was always to create my own versions of these rides. And 20 years ago, virtual reality was hyped, and I'm like, ooh, I can finally create my rides, my dark rides. But it didn't happen. So now, 20 years later, I've been able to do it. I actually got a Rift 6 months ago, and I started programming in Unity. And I have a demo, and come over to the expo and see me. Thank you.
I'm a designer at IDEO. And past year, I've been working with some friends and building a small team around exploring how we can immerse people in a new space that they don't know anything about, so like a new industry or new area that's impacting what they're doing, and helping them understand through virtual reality what the space looks like, who the important people are, different ways to engage in the conversation, and we've been building some prototypes, and I'm happy to show you all that. So this is fantastic to see this many people interested here as well.
Hi, I'm Ed, and this is Tommy. I'm a programmer in VR, and we're working on a short game for VR called 7 Days of Cat. And as you might expect, you play cat, and we're actually scaling everything up, so it's kind of like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids type experience. So it's in pretty early stages right now, but we're hoping to have a public beta, before Kid 2 comes out. So if this seems like a fun idea, we'll be showing what we have so far. We'll be in the demo area, so come by and talk to us. And if you want to get updates, you can put in your email. We have a site up at 7daysofcat.com. I think that's it. Thanks.
G'day. Kim Pearce, Space Pioneers, Australia. Imagine seeing through the eyes of a tiny robot located in a miniature space station high above the Earth, using the robot's hands, seeing the Earth from space, could be with the Rift. In the virtual world, people can learn to master that. The robot outpost in space could also be used to build a full-size space habitat for human colonists. Imagine achieving that. Virtual reality can be put to work in real space development, even from Earth. Who would like to help drive a virtual and real space development project? It is like a game, but it is also very real.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Stefan. I'm from Australia. This is my when I tried the Rift on for the first time earlier this year, I quit my job and I found the company focusing exclusively on virtual reality services development and consulting. Speak up. Yeah. And it has been an amazing journey. We have done a couple of awesome projects. Particularly one has taken session today, tomorrow. Enough to talk to you about that. It's pretty, yeah. But I think personally that gaming is one application of many, and that going forward, the most successful applications are probably going to be those that help leverage virtual reality to grow other people's businesses. And I think virtual reality fashion is going to do that in a big way. Talk to you guys later.
Hi everybody, I'm Ivan Blaustein from Orange County Virtual Reality. And we just had our first meetup at the beginning of this month, and we're excited. We had almost 200 people and 11 VR demos. And
events planned in the next 4 weeks. And we have a hackathon to create educational VR experiences. We are going to be exhibiting at the Immersion 2014 Summit in LA. And we have several nights of tutorials for Oculus integration into Unity and general presentations. And we'd love for more people to join us at future events, so look out for us.
Hi there, my name is Shannon Clouston, and I work for a company called Special Circumstances. And our team does product and game prototyping, and in the VR world, you need to have a controller. That's something that's really important. You need to be able to operate your player, and I felt with some controllers, it would constrict your hand. I wanted to free that on because the or you can visit our website online, specialcircumstances.co, and we're going to come out with a new product soon. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Jason Gerald. I'm the founder and principal consultant at Next Gen Interactions, and I've been creating virtual reality experiences since 1996 for various organizations such as NASA Ames just down the street to General. I worked with Valve Software. I worked with Jan at Bridgewix for a game for ABC's Shark Tank. I'm on the Sixth Sense Advisory Board, and I worked back in the day with Leap Motion before they were even Leap Motion. And I would love for you to be next.
First person with show and tell up here. My name is John Murray. I'm founder and CEO of Seabright. I'm pleased to announce the company at GDC earlier this year, and we're here today to meet everyone. We really appreciate all of your passion and enthusiasm, from input devices to crazy ideas for VR and AR experiences. I love it all. We love it too. In fact, we decided to reimagine what a head-mounted display could be, and we created this little thing that I'm going to put on and demonstrate now that reflects a smartphone into your field of view. It allows you to see both through it if you have the see-through version and not see-through it if you have the virtual reality version. We have a booth here, so please stop by and try it out. We are here to meet developers. We're also here looking for passionate people that want to redefine the way we interact with computer media. We understood that a touchscreen is sort of a poor medium for this, so we created a controller that interacts with a smartphone, that has a tracker, as well as a motion controller. So check us out, and thank you very much for your time.
Show and tell, but I'll try anyway. My name is Anthony Clay. I'm with Zarth Code LLC, based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And our product is a virtual reality glove. It has a minimum of seven IMU sensors to provide a low latency skeletal model of the human hand. It's Bluetooth wireless, can work along with any other tracking system, such as a Private VR or a STEM. We're targeting a MSRP of $250 or less. We'll be kickstarting at the end of June, and if you have any questions or curious, see me. We're looking for developers and partners to help us get it up and going. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stefan Costa, founder of Mixamo. I hope you don't mind, I'm going to use a little bit of augmented reality here to help. I work in motion capture animation since the school days, and I built VR. With VR. So the main thing is that VR needs content, like a lot of content, right? And this content is 3D, and specifically, the content is characters, because characters are really important. Why are they so important? Because they bring emotions, which is great. You know, that's why we're here. We like emotions. And so we built basically the first online character animation service
where we can deliver to VR developers and everybody. And we have developed Fuse. To these guys. Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Schröer, co-founder of WorldViz. We've been around for 10, 12 years in the virtual reality space. Our product is Wizard. It's a visual studio of virtual reality, a comprehensive collection of tools and services for you to create your own virtual reality apps and distribute them as an executable. So we connect to all the hardware that's out there in the virtual reality space. Some exhibitors you see here, 6 Sense, Leap Motion. We connect to them and to hundreds of others. Our customers in the last years have been Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Siemens, Stanford University. Hundreds of universities actually are using us for research projects. So we're here right up front at the exhibition hall. We have a wide area motion tracking system set up where you can walk around some really cool virtual environments. So come see us, come visit us, talk to us. Thank you.
Good morning. We are Bria and we are coming from Spain. We are a team of 15 people back there, and some of us have been working on this since the 90s, but we've been on this for 6 months. We are doing hardware and software, and we are presenting here 2 headsets. One is a top-end one, and the other one is an accessory for mobiles that will make your mobile an entry-level VR set. We are also working in software, and we are working with universities back there in medicine, architecture, and psychology. And we are developing right now an SDK, so to give it to the community. And yeah, we are ready for production. So we are looking for partners to help us reach our next goal. Please spare 10 minutes and come and visit us. We would like to hear your feedback. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tony Davidson. I'm the founder of Intervision Games and the creator of a VR-inspired exploration game called Ethereum. And Ethereum is a challenging puzzle-based adventure that takes place on a water world in a distant galaxy and features novel physics-based interactive game mechanics that I'm designing exclusively for VR. I've also just recently teamed up with Rift Up team, VR Union. Their kit effectively upgrades a standard Oculus DK1 to a full HD compatible HMD that has a really nice 6.22 megapixel LCD display. But I'm happy to say that I'll be showcasing Ethereum here today using one of these overhauled HD rigs. So if anyone's interested in checking it out, please stop by and see me. I'd be happy to download for you and answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Hi. At the edge of the rise of virtual reality among the humans, Virtual Hand is aiming at helping VR creators to connect with real people and helping real people to enter their virtual world. Fast-growing technology sometimes gives us the feeling of being lost and creates generation gaps. We intend to decrease the gap and demystify technology and for a more balanced and comfortable world. How? We are creating an online magazine and blog containing 3 parts and a bonus part. Page 1, we provide nice descriptions of great VR projects, interviews and videos. Page 2, we post good resources, books, links, meetups, and to get familiar with VR coding. Page 3 is an environment for VR people or developers to post their starting, developing, or finishing projects. Page 4, the bonus part, please contact me to know more about it. Thank you.
I'm Tracy McSherry from PhaseSpace. I recognize a couple of our clients out here. We make a motion capture system that tracks you at 960 frames per second to about 50 microns resolution. That's better resolution than you have. Our clients include the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps. We were there at the beginning when the day that Oculus Rift started. I've been doing virtual reality for 30 years, so I'm glad to see that it's finally starting to take off. Our goal is to demonstrate that we can track your hands, your fingers, your face in higher resolution than you need, because any engineering system needs higher input than the output to be able to filter it, smooth it, and get exactly what you want. We're looking forward to showing you what we have and showing you that it works. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Eric Greenbaum. I am the founder of the New York City Virtual Reality Meetup. I am also a neuroscientist and a patent attorney. I've been working on virtual reality exercise. And in the process of developing virtual reality exercise, I ran up against a hurdle almost immediately, which was hygiene and head-mounted displays. As it turns out, this is not just a problem or not just an issue with exercise systems, but for all of virtual reality and any head-mounted display. You know, we have a responsibility to our users to provide a comfortable and safe environment for their faces. And we also have a large opportunity to make a head-mounted display not just something that someone would put on their face, but something that they want to put on their face. So I started Gem VR, and my first project is a removable liner for a head-mounted display. I have a booth, come see me, and we can chat. Thanks so much.
Hi there, my name is Forrest Gibson. I'm part of a small development team up in Seattle called Impossible Object. We're really interested in experimenting with kind of the combination of virtual reality gaming as well as entertainment. Our first game that we've been working on is called Giant versus Horde. The idea is it's an asymmetrical game where one person in a full body motion capture suit faces off against hundreds of players in little ships. Basically the most epic boss battle you've ever played, where the boss has no predetermined motions, it's a real person playing. And the idea behind this too is that the person who's doing that is some sort of internet celebrity or personality, so they're actually challenging their fans to fight against them. We're also using the same technology to start experimenting with real-time in-game machinima. Thank you, Mixamo, for Face Plus. We've been using that to actually power characters full-time with super low latency in 3D. And we're going to be doing probably a stand-up comedy show in the next couple months, so check it out.
Hi, I'm not real. I'm an avatar. My boss is actually a 12 years old boy negotiating right now a buyout of his company to an undisclosed company for $2 billion. But that's not the only thing we have in common with Oculus Rift. Our product is also not finished yet. But Duver will be part of the future you guys create. Duver is a door to many virtual rooms, palaces, galaxies, universe. Duver is a place you either upload to, download, play, or watch virtual reality, your own reality. Duver is a place where, Duver, 60 seconds of shame. Duver is a portal for VR content. VR games, VR videos, VR live events, and we are crazy. We are foolish. We are hungry. We are gamers. Thank you. Really rock it.
Hello, my name is Mark Leonard. I have over a decade of neuroscience research at Cal, well over a decade of co-founding early stage startups, and I'm working on my 6th or 7th called Hemicity Games, and I plan to use the Rift to save lives. Every hour of every day, a veteran in the US kills himself. Depression is the leading cause of medical disability in the world, and in the last 40 years, nothing has touched the per capita rate. With the Rift, I can hack the brain in ways that have never been done before based on perceptual cognitive neuroscience and neuroplasticity. So I'm hoping that I can find developers or help you make prototypes to demo and to save lives. So if you're a game dev, find me, and our motto is going to be games that change lives.
And I hope to do a whole suite of games based on neuroplasticity
10 second warning.
and cognitive science. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit there to help people. Thank you.
Good morning again. My name is Jason Gerald, and I'm working with the ACMC Government Conference. And there'll be about 20,000 attendees there, so it won't be quite as intimate as what we have here. However, we are making augmented and virtual reality a primary theme of that conference. We're putting together a panel similar to what we have here. So far for we have Michael Aberish of Oculus, more notably of Valve, participating on the panel, and Richard Marks of Sony, and some more speakers that will be confirmed. We're also putting together an augmented and virtual reality conference where we'll be showing the best 3 experiences, virtual reality, augmented reality experiences of the year. And so this is an enormous opportunity for you to promote your product and get it in front of a lot of people. Thank you.
We're going to do this for about 5 more minutes, so make it awesome.
One of kind of the coolest and most exciting promises of VR is to be the most accessible computing platform I think we've ever seen. I'm Julian Bolin, co-founder at Trinity VR, and we're focusing on natural user interaction. We think that's the one piece input that really needs to be solved in order for widespread adoption of VR. Our flagship product, the Trinity Magnet, is basically duck hunt for VR, which we all really kind of wanted. So out of necessity, we built it. It's a motion-controlled gun tracking peripheral using a combination of inertial and computer vision. And we're really trying to differentiate ourselves from some of the other stuff out there by being low cost and just instantly accessible. My grandma can use this thing, so that's pretty cool and exciting for us. Yeah, just come check us out and experience it for yourself. Thank you.
Oh, I'm Ed Mason, Game Face Labs. We've developed an Android-based virtual reality console. As opposed to being a head-mounted display plugged into a tethered stationary machine, we have an untethered all-in-one device. Our latest proof of concept has a 2560 by 1440 display panel. We have both Tegra and Snapdragon prototypes here at the conference. We have a table around the corner, so if you see me, come and have a look. It's pretty cool. Thank you very much.
I'm James Andrews, founder and lead developer of Pixel Router VR. Our first game, Rift Wars, yeah, Bruce is going like this. Our first game is called Rift Wars. It's inspired by classics like Star Fox and Geometry Wars. We really think there's a real room for reinventing classical arcade mechanics for VR. And our games are accessible but challenging. And I think I want to sum up with a quote from Bruce when he was done playing on his screen. He said, "Some things you just play and you're like, oh yes, I will be playing this forever." Now, we are so indie that I spent all my money getting out here, so I couldn't afford my own booth, so we'll be demoing at the SVVR booth, so come check out our new demo.
Hello, I'm Peter Sesson, and I'm a 4th-year computer engineering at the University of Texas at Arlington. I'm also a VR and robotics enthusiast. Member of Team Gauntlet, a group for hackers and makers who like to make haptic devices to help them reach in and feel virtual objects in virtual reality. You can find us on Google Plus and Facebook. Join in and toss around ideas about haptics. And also you can find our new website, gauntlet.com. We're starting to move over there, putting out code and different things. This is our second prototype glance that allows you to feel the size, the consistency of different objects on your fingers. So thank you, check us out online, and have a great SVVR.
Hi, my name's Dave Arendash. I'm that VR guy on Twitter. I've been doing VR for 32 years on and off. Roughly my first project on Commodore PET back in the early 80s. I am sort of doing freelance consulting. I represent Spiral Concepts, and through Idea Builder and Spiral Concepts, we have an app that lets you use VR to design a house, and robots up in Portland that actually build a house, build your house. And we also work with Human in Denmark. It's a social gaming platform that we've now got Oculus ready. Working with OculusReady.com on mini vacations, relaxing mini vacations. I just finished a telepresence app using robots and
cameras and gimbals and so forth. And this is the kind of stuff I do. So I'm a roaming demo this week,
Hello
and have a great conference.
Everyone, my name is Scott Phillips. I've created what I call the VR Walker. It's a shoe-based omnidirectional treadmill. In fact, it's a pair of shoes motorised with rolling casters underneath. The idea is to create an utterly flexible locomotion interface, no rings, flat floor, low weight, comes in the box. Thank you very much. Small 114.
All right, we're now at 10:50, and all the people have guilted me and begged me into letting them come out. So they're each going to get 10 seconds to tell you something. Go!
Hello, my name is Amber. Check out vrbackpack.com. It allows you to put your laptop power supply in a backpack, powers your Oculus Rift, untethered.
Get on the stage.
Hi guys, my name is Ryan. I'm the project lead for Spectre, a virtual reality horror multiplayer game. We started making our game at the VR Jam.
Ryan, let me get on stage.
Seriously? Okay,
10
okay.
seconds.
Okay, sorry. We recently got spun on Kickstarter. I'm here to expand my development team, so if you guys
Hi, Mike Barreto. I'm with the Web3D Consortium. It's essentially an open, free, ISO-ratified standard, and we need a standard in this community. You should check it out. X3 is the vernal next generation.
All right, excellent. Get on stage. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I am Manuel from T-Division, glad to see you here. I want to thank you, I want to thank the VR community for being here. This is fantastic, it's like a dream come true.
Thank you.
2019, this device and full high definition, now see all these things happening now. This is fantastic.
On stage time.
Hi there, excited to be here. I'm James McRae, University of Toronto alumni. Janice VR.
System that's augmented. If you want to collaborate on that. Thank you.
I love you, Mark.
Caitlin Meeks with Unity Technologies, creator and manager of the Unity Asset Store. Howdy.
Hi, I'm Anton with PlayStation's Project Morpheus. We brought some kits for you guys to play with, so come check it out.
I'm not going to tell you my name. VR Boom. It's a web series, a very high-end web series. I get paid money to do things for networks, so trying to do a great VR web series that promotes the human story.
Hello, French 3D Synthesis Universe. I'm here to meet the community and you and the manufacturer. Thank you, Bruce, for all this. And I have a booth.
Merci beaucoup, get on the stage. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. I don't mean to be rude, but get off the stage. All right, excellent. Lovely. I hope everyone was taking at least a couple notes, a couple things that were interesting to you. That's the reason why we do this. We are, in many ways, a small community, but we're spread all over the place, and it's great to drop the virtual from the reality and meet these persons in real life. So, next up, at 11 o'clock, we're going to have a panel moderated by Ben Lane from Road to VR. It's going to be talking about VR in the next 5 years. It's packed full of CEOs and founders, a lot of them that you'll want to see. I'll let Ben introduce those people when it starts, but that's going to start in about 7 minutes. So in the meantime, grab yourself a snack, grab some coffee, socialize, talk to one of those people that you saw up here, and thank you very much. We'll be back soon.
reality technology would be. And then I think I saw that potential way before I ever did anything about it, before I ever tried to do anything about it, somewhere, something super cool. So it wasn't until a while later that I realized that things actually weren't as good as they were portrayed in the movies at any cost, whether it's professional or industrial or military. So I've been working on this stuff not because I saw the potential for VR, but because people have seen it for so long and they've wanted it for such a long time. They've already laid out what it's going to do. You don't have to be a visionary to see that.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Palmer. Thank you, Palmer. Next, we're going to move on to Jens Christensen, who is the CEO of Jump VR, who are working on live-action cinema and for virtual reality and a platform to enable such experiences. So, Jens, can you tell us kind of about when you first realized that VR was a place worth working in?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember very well. It was about 1 year ago. I'm a co-founder of John, and my other co-founder, we have two other ones, Tom Ammo and Arthur Tom. But Tom went off on vacation, and he went to Bryce Canyon. And he was trying to describe just what an incredible experience it was. He had taken some photos with his iPhone, and he came back and he was showing me, and it just was not capturing that experience at all. So he started thinking, well, how could you actually capture the experience you had being there in the canyon? And so first we thought, well, what if you had a very powerful camera and you had some goggles? Could you be transported there virtually? And so we went off and we tried to buy an Oculus Rift. It turns out it was a very long waiting list. We ended up finding one on Craigslist that we bought at cost, amazingly enough. And we basically built a little Lego camera and tried and created a 360 panorama and put on the Oculus, and it was immediate. It's like, wow, this really works. So we said this is worth pursuing, and that's when we decided to start the company.
Thank you, Jens. And please hold your mic a little bit more toward your mouth, just so everybody can hear you as we go along. Next is Amir Rubin, who is the CEO of 6th Sense, who are responsible for the Razer Hydra and the forthcoming STEM motion input controller. Amir, can you share with us, I know you've been in the industry for a long time, when did it strike you, maybe a little while ago?
Yes, so 6th Sense was founded by myself and an experienced movie Hollywood producer, his name is Avi Arad. We came to VR from two different directions. Myself, I've been experimenting with virtual reality for now more than 20 years, almost 25 years. I'm coming from professional simulation. I started with military, and my first experience was very, very, very difficult VR setup that I was introduced as part of my reserves in the Israeli army. I came in to experience it because I was building a simulator for a client at the time, with a company that I was running. And to tell you that that was a great experience, it wasn't. It was over 40 pounds of a headset. It was extreme weight of wires hanging behind me, but it was enough to show me that if I can take that and make it accessible and available to the mass consumers, to the mass market, that is by far the future medium for all content, entertainment, but way beyond that, and we'll discuss it I'm sure later. So for me, that was at 20, now it's started in 89, but then starting from that experience, it was an obsession that, you know, my family and my friends, and now the 6th Sense enthusiasts joined me on, and now we are moving into it. Just to finish with Avi Arad, Avi Arad's vision is to enable every single one of us to feel how is it to be a Spider-Man. So he is the Spider-Man producer, but for him, it's It's one thing to do it so you sit in a theater and you experience it in IMAX and all that, but to be Spider-Man, so you can shoot and be in it and feel like it, that's why we started Sixth Sense. Your sixth sense, your intuition will become fully activated within a virtual world.
Thank you, Amir. Next, we have Ed Mason, who is the CEO of GameFace Labs, and they are working on a mobile VR headset. Ed, can you tell us why did you decide to pursue this?
Absolutely. So my background was in stereo 3D gaming. We started off in about 2009, building up a 3D video sharing platform for people with stereo 3D cameras to rent their own content and upload it somewhere they can share it with everyone else. We moved on from 3D cloud gaming over to auto stereo gaming, and ultimately then started playing around with 3D cloud gaming. Back in about 2011, 2012, we started showing off at a few conferences the 3D cloud gaming platform that allowed you to play stereo 3D games with zero latency. From there, we heard about the Rift and what it was up to, and realized the potential that was in fact behind this economic immersive video games. And having followed 3D gaming as that day was the most immersive experience you could have for gaming, we were very sort of keen to see where VR took us. We got a dedicated, and we realized the route in which others went down, mainly to PC gaming. They were obviously interested in the PC market to begin with, requiring the GPU power that you do need. Nonetheless, we realized that mobile, in our opinion, is the future for VR as well. And this is something that, even though what we have for proof of concepts, we know that untended VR is the experience that everyone's really after. So what we have today is really a bunch enough proof of concepts. We're revising the device and showing off a new device, the Mark V at E3. So if anyone's there, do keep an eye peeled for an upcoming first lab.
Thank you, Ed. Drew Edding is a partner at Formation 8, and he has contributed, or the company has contributed to the $75 million Series B funding raised by Oculus. Drew, can you tell us a little bit about why virtual reality is worth investing in?
Yeah, I mean, I think that as an investor, a slightly different way that we look at opportunities, and so I think the first time that I saw Oculus was actually one of the first companies I ever saw as an investor in Formation 8, and it was a realization of like how cool this is, and you know, there was a question about whether it was going to be a real large and viable technology, and then I think the time that stuck out in my mind is when I realized how powerful this was going to be and how viable in the market it was when we had a demo day for some of our portfolio companies where a lot of the executives from South Korean companies flew out, and the room was absolutely packed to see Oculus, and they just wanted to see like a 15-minute demo of it. They'd never seen it before, and these were people that probably only left South Korea for talks with huge companies. And so that was a time where I kind of realized, this is something that could be really, really big. And I think virtual reality in general is a place that we've become increasingly interested in since that.
Thank you, Drew. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to move into we're going to have an individual question for each of our panelists with an opportunity for others to follow up if they have something to contribute. And with all of our remaining time after that, we're going to go to the audience for questions. So please start getting them in mind as our discussion evolves here. So we're going to start with Palmer. The simplicity of high-density raster screens with lightweight optics has enabled relatively high performance at a great consumer price. But in the next 5 years, do you think that there are other display technologies that might enable or enhance the VR experience?
Yes, probably. I mean, 5 years is getting to the edge of what you can put on a roadmap, at least right now. So I'd say 5 to 10 years, definitely. 5 years, maybe not. One of the reasons that it was so effective is because we were able to use things from the mobile phone industry to, you're able to leverage all of that money that's in the mobile phone industry, take those high quality parts into virtual reality. But if virtual reality actually does manage to take off over the next few years, there are definitely improvements that can be made in display technology that benefit VR a lot more than they do mobile. And so it's probably not going to be just mobile phone-based panels powering all of these head-mounted supports.
And educate us a bit, as I feel like we were in probably a position to know about maybe some of the other kind of more expensive, maybe not practical yet, display technologies that might work for a wider field of view or better colors or better contrast?
It's not really a matter of cost. Most of these technologies just literally don't exist. Like I said, these are things that would be optimized for virtual reality. So right now there isn't really much reason to exist. I can't really get into specifics because of things we're actively looking at. But.
Very good, thank you. Anybody have anything to add regarding the display technology going forward, what we see in the past versus going forward with our high pixel densities?
I will just mention the fact that projectors, tiny little projectors, that are going to be able to develop, and now I believe will be developed specifically to be replacing those rigid panels. I think from what we've been presented, a couple of them from major consumer electronic companies, I think those are going to make a major jump forward now in light of the success. But I'll leave it to Palmer to tell us about all this innovation when they come up.
So we're going to move on to Jens. Game engines like Unreal Engine 4 and Unity are rapidly approaching photorealistic real-time visuals. Over the next 5 years, do you think there's always going to be a place for live-action cinema VR? And are there any inherent advantages to live-action versus CGI?
Yeah, I think live action, there'll always be room for live action. I mean, even if you're able to construct a completely photorealistic world, you'll still want to cover things like sports, news events, and things that are happening in the real world, and give the experience of people being transported, being courtside at a game or being in the middle of a news event happening, a flood, if you will. So yeah, there'll always be room for live action VR. Still, there are things that are easier to do, believe it or not, with cameras and live people than having to construct a whole model from scratch. So even then, I think there'll be room for cinematic or live action VR.
Anybody have anything they want to add regarding live action cinema VR that we've seen from a number of companies recently?
Some people say whatever. I'll age myself and I'll take you back to the Sega Genesis. And when Sega Genesis was the leading console back in the early 90s, they released a Sega CD. And when Sega CD was released, Sega started with an initiative doing live action, interactive games. They actually shot it in Burbank, in a studio, in a movie studio. And the bottom line is that it was a very, very unique experience. It was a very good experience. Obviously, the Genesis did not have the necessary process capabilities, and it was not VR, even though they had some attempts later to bring it. The bottom line is that live action, interactive, I believe will be a very, very unique way to go. Specifically, if developers like the Walking Dead developers would be the ability to bring those type of experiences into VR.
And Ed, there's obvious advantages to mobile VR versus tethered VR when it comes to power and portability. Over the next 5 years, do you think mobile VR will be a completely separate experience from kind of the desktop class, or do you see maybe a hybrid tethered solution where you can use your mobile device and plug it in at home into a PC or console?
It's an interesting one. So, well, obviously, PC-based, like x86-based VR is always going to be more powerful than mobile counterparts. I feel over the next 5 years, the gap is going to close somewhat. We will get a lot more immersive VR experiences off of the later generation SoCs that will be coming out. As such, yes, I think there will always be a demand to have the really sort of high-end VR experience, and as such, you would need a console, you would need a PC to be able to render that. But at the same time, I feel that within the next 3 to 5 years, we should see some pretty powerful SoCs coming out, even more so than the K1s, N82, and EJ10 that are coming out very soon.
that will give us a pretty good VR experience in any shape. It's something that we've been working a lot to reduce latency, to increase the sense of presence, and it's something that with more time, more effort, and slightly more horsepower, I think it's something we can achieve, and we will get there in the next 5 years.
And I'd like to follow that up also with your thoughts on the smartphone adapters for HMDs. Do you see them competing, or maybe being a lower kind of performance space, a lower sector?
I see it as more of a segue into what we are doing. We've actually had sort of I think it's a fantastic idea. We've been talking with the Champ founders altogether, a few of the other companies that are releasing these sort of phone holders, and what these Champs are doing is really great. And we found that up until recently, due to the fact that we only have a few prototypes at the moment for our head-mounted devices or head-mounted consoles, we've been unable to send dev kits out. And as such, we found that AlterGaze and OpenDive and these other head-mounted phone holders and such act as a good kind of intermediate developing platform to be able to get us content up until we're at the stage that we can ultimately release dev kits out to the larger public. But no, I think it's fantastic. Anything that's going to get anyone involved in VR, I think we need to get behind it and help out as best we can. And I'd like to add as well, that means that we are developing a platform that will be an Android-based VR OS effectively, and this is something that we will open up to any other Android-based VR player that wants to get involved, as we have collated a huge amount of content, both 360 video as well as actual gaming content that we would want to literally get out into as many hands as possible. We have content as king, and as such we want to help everyone get it as quickly as we can.
Palmer, do you have any thoughts regarding tethered versus desktop VR, or maybe a hybrid solution going forward? Do you think one will be more popular, or one will take over as we get on the road?
I think that only one is capable of providing a good virtual reality experience today. In the coming years, that might change, but right now, I think that there's a lot of really interesting mobile VR stuff being done, publicly and behind the scenes. But for me, my passion is, making really good virtual reality as good as it can possibly be. Not trying to make something that is halfway there.
And do you see a point where you would maybe have a headset that you can connect and kind of get the best of both worlds, where it can be mobile and do a maybe on-road processing and then come in and plug it home? I mean, it seems like
yes, that's probably the long-term way it's going to go, because eventually the processing power is going to get so cheap, there's not going to be a good reason to not have something in the headset, especially if VR isn't just all going to be about really high-end VR gaming experiences. There's a lot of interesting things. I mean, even just browsing the web and watching movies and some basic kind of interactions can probably be done effectively on a less powerful chip. So eventually it'll get cheap enough that, of course, you won't.
Smartphone adapters these days?
As they exist now, yes. I think that there's actually a lot of potential for those kinds of viewers to get a lot better if and when phone manufacturers start to pay attention to it. Because if you can actually do really low-level stuff and then optimize these devices for virtual reality, optimize the displays somewhat for virtual reality, and not have to go through all the high latency pipelines that are in Android, you can potentially get a much better VR experience. But if you can't do that kind of deep integration, then they're always going to be a step behind because they don't have control over the core stuff. I mean, the sensors are just one good example. Most phones, they don't bother to calibrate the sensors well in the factory because there's just no reason to. And most time people don't notice, although if you look like the iPhone 5 actually had some sensor calibration issues where people were even noticing just playing games or having it sitting on a flat surface. And most of them, the sampling rates max out at around 100 hertz, and that's because who cares? It's for controlling stuff on a phone, not for VR. And as long as you're relying on that hardware and on their manufacturing, it's going to be really tough to get a good VR experience out of just a phone plus your plastic pieces.
Thank you, Palmer. And Drew, I'd like to move on to you. I remember how exciting it was when in September, at the end of September, or sorry, beginning of September 2012, the Oculus Rift Kickstarter had raised more than $2 million, and that was like mind-blowing. The $2 billion Facebook purchase represents not one, but a 3-order of magnitude increase in the value of the company in less than 2 years. The same month that Facebook purchased Oculus, Sony, another multi-billion-dollar company, announced their entrance into the VR space. With this in mind, do you think we'll see other major companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Google jumping into the space?
I think you might see other large tech incumbents jumping into the space. wasn't really our concern. I mean, I think that if you're a venture capitalist, you have to sort of have this, I don't know, whether it's delusion or optimism around new and sort of, young technologists taking on new markets, and that it's really, really hard for innovation like what's required to produce a VR platform to take place in a large bureaucratic organization. And so while I think that I think that potential collaborations with large companies maybe makes sense, and you could see an Apple trying to do a collaboration, or Google or what have you. It wasn't really a big a concern of ours that Oculus was going to be face competition from a large incumbent.
And what are your thoughts about where we may or may not be with a VR bubble in the industry?
A VR bubble?
Yeah, in terms of, I mean, the jump in value from Oculus, and what we had seen prior was kind of the millions. When we're talking billions now.
Yeah, I think that valuation is a difficult thing to really discuss when you're talking about technologies like this and also companies like this. I mean, valuation, the way that valuation is really determined. It's not like a public market where you have a price which is constantly being readjusted, and you can think about bubbles as things being overpriced and underpriced. And Oculus is a fundamentally transformative technology, and so they're, in some ways, they're worth. It's nearly impossible to assign a value to it, and I guess I would defer to Facebook on how they set values for things. But I don't think we're in a VR bubble. I think we're just at the very, very beginning of funding and institutional funding for virtual reality companies, both hardware platforms, software platforms, and even companies that are building experiences and content on top of virtual reality platforms.
I'd also throw in that if there is a bubble, it would probably only, just to get around the idea, talk about the concept of VR bubble. There might be an Oculus bubble, but there's definitely not a VR bubble. I mean, we sold for a couple billion, but if you look at the other VR companies that are out there, it's not like there's this mass, widespread mania of people investing and over-investing in VR, because that's not saying they're not getting investment. Like John got great investment, but it's not multi-billion-dollar investment. I think that it is in the realm of reasonable investing. I mean, don't you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we just recently invested in a company called Qualia 3D, which I think you guys will hear from Eric later on. And I think you're just starting to see companies like that get funny. It's not the valuations are not through the roof. I mean, these are following traditional valuations that are sort of standard for the market given the stage of the companies. And I think if you start seeing companies raising hundreds of millions of dollars with no product, and then maybe you're in a bubble. But I think when you just see companies starting to get seed, institutional investors paying attention, angel investors paying attention, that's really just the beginning of something. And I think that I agree with what Palmer said. Maybe there was an Oculus bubble, but definitely not a VR bubble. And I don't think there was an Oculus bubble either. But.
Yeah, I actually disagree. I think Facebook got a great deal.
So do I.
So before we go,
Well, first of all, I agree. 100% agree that Facebook made a great deal. And it will not only position Facebook on the bleeding edge again, as they used to be when they started, but beyond that, it puts them on the front of what I consider to be a whole new generation of content and a whole different experience, which, again, for us at 6 Sense, is obviously a game changer, because until the Oculus, at 6 Sense, it was very hard for us to justify why would you need to use this motion tracking, especially our type of motion tracking, which is so accurate and that enables you to bring your body into a virtual world, when all the virtual worlds, although they were 3D or even stereo 3D, still on a display in front of you. But when you are inside and your eyes are covered, now you need to have no explanation why you would like to see your hands in front of your face or pick up a pistol or whatever you are doing. it is about having presence in VR. It's becoming a critical component. Going to the discussion about financing. So it's true, new startups getting seed, getting, many companies, Servius just got its funding, Omni, Virtuous just got its funding. All these companies, we've been working with them from the day that those founders were thinking about doing what they're doing. And all of them are brilliant innovators, and I expect all of them to be purchased at hundreds of millions of dollars within the next 5 years by the Googles and the Microsoft. That there's always a late. But going back to Six Sense is a unique situation because we are kind of a veteran company. We've been there for 60-something years. We've done a lot. We've done gaming for a long time. You know us as gaming company. But the truth is that we are very active in rehabilitation, and now we are bringing it all to VR. We are very active in training and education, and now we are bringing it all to VR. We are very active in even stuff that nobody knows about unless I told them, gambling. We believe that there's for me to be able to sit at the Bellagio, at the table playing any one of those games, it's going to be a huge application that's going to make money, and all these casinos are going to pay a lot of money for that, and not mention, what we look at as other applications that people are going to come with. So the only thing I'm saying is companies like us that are coming really from professional space and they're moving into now focus on VR as our core business. I believe that our potential of becoming part of a very big opportunity for one of those big players of jumping in very quickly is right there. So you got the Oculus experience, which is very unique, but then you got all the new startups, and we believe that we are positioned in the middle based on the approaches that all those kind of companies are coming to.
I think I'll just add to that. There are so many unknown unknowns in virtual reality today. To say that we're in a bubble, I think, would be very unfair, simply because it's really down to you guys now to start developing the interesting uses of VR, and we're really going to see a whole sort of variety of new input controls, new display panels, hopefully with enough interest in VR. Hopefully guys will start making much higher 80+ resolution displays solely for the sole purpose of being provided for HMDs. So I completely agree, not in a bubble, nowhere near.
Very good. Thank you, everybody, for your responses. We're doing pretty good on time, so keep those questions from the audience brewing. We've got 2 more questions on the rundown our panel. Have we seen the killer app or the killer experience for VR yet, or is it still yet to be made? Palmer, can we start with you?
I mean, usually killer apps are defined by the users and the people who latch onto them and start using it. I can't think of very many times where someone has picked a killer app or a platform has launched, and unless you're a console and you're like, this is gonna be a killer app, launch day, but then a lot of these games they end up not doing so well. We're even seeing that happening now, and I think that shows that it doesn't matter how great it is or how good a demo is. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the killer app. Like Eve Valkyrie is a really great game on the Rift, but so far it's a single level demo that they've been showing at shows. And while it's super fun, it's super good, it doesn't mean it's going to be a killer app or the killer app for VR. I think we're going to have to get further along before we can say if the kill. So to answer the question, maybe it's been made, and I don't think we'll know if it has been made until there's a lot more people using VR than the developer group that is today.
That's fair. So let me broaden that question up a little bit. Not necessarily the killer, one game, but how about an experience, whether it be social, faction, or multiplayer, or third person? Are there things that you see as being at the forefront, as the most exciting things that you're looking to get out there to the public?
I'm not going to play Kingmaker, but...
So first I want to talk about games. Let's stick to games for a minute, because I think there's other applications that will be much bigger than games, but focus on games. There's 2 games out there, which the number 1 game that I look at, positioned to be a killer app, or at least a way to present the experience of VR at the most advanced, currently being the most advanced, is Gallery 6 level. You look at Gallery, you experience even the one level, you can come to our booth and you can definitely experience it and just tell us how you feel about it. He's already working with the STEM. You should be able to tell what it could be and what it will be when it's released. But then there's a Kickstarter right now which I urge you all to support. It's a game called Loading Human. It's a great team out of Italy. And look at the video that they released today, again using the STEM, and look at the experience that they're presenting. I believe, again, that is potentially positioned to be a killer app. And again, like Palmer said, the killer app is for you guys and for the mass market to adopt. I believe, starting with those two, we have a great potential. But just to add, the most important thing is for us and I believe Oculus is going to have to, and is doing it well. People, designers, application designers, and specifically game designers need to take time off. And I know it's difficult for them because they need to make money like everything else, like everyone else. They've got PS4 and they got the Xbox One, but they need to take time aside if they believe in VR, like some people at Valve are doing, and learn and experiment in designing experiences and designing games for virtual reality. If you do not start from understanding what experience you're trying to create and do it for the virtual reality, it is not going to be a killer app. And with that.
Yeah, I think one thing, I also think talking about a killer app, I think virtual reality is a shift in form factor. So there's a fundamentally new way of communicating and collaborating and interacting. So it's kind of asking what is the killer app on mobile? Is it WhatsApp? Is it is it an enterprise application that you use? Is it Floppy Birds? I mean, it's very difficult because there's so many different things that are going to be done on virtual reality, and both from a hardware perspective and from a software perspective, it is truly like a new platform. So asking what the killer app is, there's going to be innovators who create experiences which are fundamental and which are looked at as sort of being the leaders in what the UX is on this new form factor. But I think that the promise of virtual reality is that it's something that's going to have so many different applications both within the consumer world and the enterprise world that it's really hard to define one thing.
Yeah, but just to help you define a killer app, with an example, Wii Sport. The Wii was no technology. Meaning the technology in the Wii was really urban. There's no technology in it. The innovation there was Wii Sport. The experience you got from Wii Sport back in 2006 made it the killer app that sold, hundreds of millions of Wiis. That's what we need, 100% need when the Oculus is launched. And I can guarantee you that the Sony Worldwide Studios, Shu Yoshida, that's all he's doing now, focused on getting that killer app when hopefully the Morpheus is launched.
Right, and if I can just add to that, I think that if you look beyond gaming, which obviously we're very excited about, you can think of things like music. A music video experience is different from many you've seen before. You can think of things like travel. Preview your new hotel. What is it like to be poolside? What does your room actually look like? These are going to.
I don't think they want you to do that.
I actually think they do. I think it could fundamentally change the travel industry. I think they could price rooms, very exactly based on what they're actually like. So I disagree. I think it really could be transformative to the travel industry. It also, this idea of presence. When you put on these goggles and you feel like you're somewhere, you can give people access to places they wouldn't otherwise have. They could be near a celebrity, for example, or they could be transported on stage as somebody's performing a concert. I mean, these are experiences that you can't really have today, and I think they would be among the killer apps for this type of technology.
Just think about the Super Bowl. You can sell the best seat in the stadium 1 million times. That would be a killer app.
I think also the killer app, whatever it ends up being, will be something of a multiplayer connectivity. To date, my favourite demo that we've been showing off gameplay, in fact we have it over here, is VR chat, where we have a cross-platform chatting application. So if you have a Rift, you can sit in the same virtual gallery and we're sitting and talk with one another. I think this is something that has a huge amount of potential to be able to connect people all over the world, and this is obviously something that Oculus and Facebook are going to be addressing pretty sharpish. So I really look forward to seeing this ability to connect people no matter where they are, and as we increase presence as well, it's something that will be very cool. So yeah, connected.
Thank you, and I think it's about time we get the questions from the audience. So can we have people line up in the middle row here and over there, and we will take questions back and forth. If anybody has questions, come on up in the line up here in the middle row.
I got my first look at a Oculus yesterday at the Maker Faire, thanks to Bruce here. And the first thing that happened to me was I had to take my glasses off, and I couldn't see anything sharp focus. And I don't know, I think Bruce said there were some adjustments you could make, but he didn't have time because it's a line of people. But I'm wondering, do you have a larger headset in the works that might accommodate people with glasses? I was at the Sony Measure a few years ago. They make this headset, it's just for watching DVDs and stuff, but there's a lot of room in front to put it on without worrying about whether they're going to have glasses. I don't know what planetary population percentage wears it, but it would seem pretty.
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the consumer Rift should work for about 95% of people, including glasses wearers. So yeah, that's about it.
Next question, please.
Oh, Chris Canino from USC. I'm wondering if there are any standards groups that are involved with looking at these different pieces of hardware and how they might, some way incorporate, like an app might be able to address the different hardware issues it might be. Is there a group, professional group that is handling that or looking into it?
There are, I mean, independent groups. I don't think there are anyone that you can focus on right now. But I think that from our perspective, what we are trying to do for technologies that present the opportunity of bringing your presence, bringing yourself, your body into the VR world, we are releasing in July our VR SDK. Our 6sense VR SDK should allow you, when it releases, to bring in the stem or the Hydra, but also any other input device. So as developers, when you develop your application, it should work for the stem, it should work for the Hydra, but it will work for the Move on Morpheus with their head position tracking. We expect it to work for any other.
On PS4?
On PS4. It will work with any other platform, meaning we are working those, this is my intention. This is what it was designed for. The deal with Sony is not done yet, so I'm not making announcements yet. But we definitely expect it to be able to support with the 6sense VR SDK any position tracking, motion solution out there that wants to be working for the Rift or for any other kind of HMD.
I would also say that there are standards groups, but I don't think that anyone has done anything meaningful or useful yet in that area, partly because everyone is moving so fast and moving in different directions and handling all these problems in different ways. And you can really only form a standard once you know what the standard way to do something should be. And if you haven't figured that out, then I don't think it's good to necessarily lock it to a standard. And I know that can make it sound like, I'm being the big old Oculus baddie and, we've got our proprietary thing. But the reality is that if we were to set a standard today, it would be de facto set by the Oculus hardware today, because that's what everyone has. And I don't think that it's smart for a standard to be built on what we have today. I don't think that the technology we have today is good enough to build a standard that's going to limit everyone else who's doing everything differently, and to limit what we're going to be able to do in the future, because we're going to be doing things differently.
But standards will eventually rise up because eventually you're going to want content to work seamlessly across all the different VR platforms. I don't think that that's necessarily going to happen right away or even very soon.
Can we have the next question?
My question was also, sorry, Anthony with Softcode LLC. My question was also about standardization, not just about input and skeletal data, like what that we're working on, but also with, say, display of IPD information, using a game face as well as an Oculus. So I want to be able to pull that information and preferably to a program the same way, but also for display output from HDMI and DisplayPort in 3D. Are there any efforts to try to roll into those 3D standards for just having transport across a single wire?
I mean, but that's also difficult because some people are just pushing the video directly across. Some are pre-distorting on the PC. Some, like Morpheus, are taking the video and then distorting it in other ways. They have the box that undistorts it the other way and pushes it out over HDMI. And then there's things like CastAR, which are using an entirely different video format to push it over a video line. So kind of like what I said before, there's no standard way for people to do it. I think it'd be really hard to build a standard into HDMI or DisplayPort for how to transport VR video when we don't even know what the best way is. And like I said, if we were to say we have to set a standard today, it probably wouldn't be good for most people because it'd end up trending towards whoever the biggest player is. And I don't think that that's a good thing for the industry.
No, I agree 100%. We need to let this VR come, mature to the point that standardization at this stage will handicap the creativity. So we need to let developers move forward without limitation.
Next question.
Hey, I'm Chris with InterVR. This is mostly for Palmer, but I've seen videos of you and Carmack talk about how it is morally imperative that we build a metaverse, and I want to get your opinion on why. Why do you think it's morally imperative that we build a metaverse?
I mean, this is one of those crazy man topics, but I guess it comes down to this. Everybody wants to live a perfect life. Everybody wants all of the things that make them happy, and there's only so much stuff in this world to go around. And there's more and more people to take out of those things than only have so much to go around. And it's going to be impossible to give everyone everything that they want if you're limited to what you can physically actually build in the real world. I think that virtual reality has the potential to take a lot of things, especially luxury goods and other things that are not long-term useful items, but they're pure waste items. And even if virtual reality was perfect, then it'd be easy to say, oh, well, it's absolutely perfect, identical to real life. Then you'd be able to solve a lot of these problems. And when you have that perspective, a lot of people say, well, you're not going to have perfect virtual reality for a very long time. So until it's perfect, it's useless. And I disagree with that perspective too, because for us, sitting here in the best country in the world and in the best state in this country, it's easy for us to say that it's easy for us to say, oh, virtual reality is not as good as the real world, so why would I want to spend my life in it? But there's a lot of people around the world who don't necessarily have lives that are as good as ours. And I think that the bar for wanting to spend a huge amount of time in VR, to have a lot of value in your recreation in VR, it's much lower than it is for us. And then there's a bunch of other reasons. I think it's going to be incredibly useful for training. I think it's going to help revolutionize education. For all those reasons, I think there's a lot of reasons that you can argue that it is a moral imperative that we create a perfect virtual reality.
And to add to that as well, I'd say even up until the stage where we have a perfect virtual reality or some sort of persistent metaverse, you're still going to have chaps with sort of the unfortunate locked-in syndrome, people who are unable to, say, leave their bed. And I think the possibility to now pair that up with a 360 camera and sort of EEG receiver to be able to actually allow this person to move outside their bedroom or whatever, I think it's something that will obviously be a pretty significant step forward for these chaps. So, yeah.
And just to add one more thing to that. Don't take this to mean that in the next 5 or even 10 years we're going to have perfect virtual reality. All of this morality stuff. It's really getting into the sci-fi realm of, what will virtual reality eventually do to society. And I think it's really exciting to think about those things, but it's also careful to not let it take up all of your everyday thinking, because it's so far off, and it's so easy to just spend your whole day daydreaming about what virtual reality is going to do, and to dream about all these amazing societal impacts it has. But as it stands, there's just a lot of work that needs to be done. It's better to focus on that, I think.
Let's go to the next question.
Yeah, I'm Steve from Leifun.com, a Chinese tech blog focusing on smart hardware and related technology. So last week, a Chinese team called ARM, we are started a Kickstarter campaign by introducing a display tool very similar to Oculus Rift with a price of $300. And so far, they have had a very good result. So have you heard of them? And do you think Chinese manufacturers can challenge the current players like Oculus and Sony by introducing cheap devices? Thank you. For Palmer and
Palmer is going to be difficult to answer that. You want to answer that?
Yeah, why not? So on VR specifically, I think that they make a lot of potentially misleading and potentially false claims in their Kickstarter, but I haven't tried it, so I don't know, and I look forward to seeing it go further, and maybe it can do all of the things they say. Aside from that, I think that there is a question about Chinese manufacturing and Chinese companies being able to make things better than Western companies, and it's not an unfair question. I mean, these people are right where all of these things are being made. There's less of a language barrier, certainly less of a travel barrier. I've been through Chinese manufacturing hell, not because it's Chinese, but because I'm in the US, and it's such a huge cultural, language, and mile barrier between us and the factory. So I've actually talked to a lot of different Chinese companies that have been able to pull off things much faster and sometimes better than Western companies because they don't have any of those barriers. That said, I think it's going to be difficult, just specifically about the question, can they compete with stuff like the Rift? I think that they can make some interesting stuff. Oculus is in an interesting situation where we plan on selling our hardware at cost, and that does put any other hardware players at somewhat of a disadvantage because they have to make enough money to pay people and make profit, and we don't. So even a Chinese company that's able to greatly lower all of these costs is going to have a very hard time. And then just finally to close, a lot of these problems, I don't think that it's, like I said, I don't think that it's because the Chinese are worse at making things. It's because there's this huge barrier between these two cultures that are trying to work together. And that's why I think that everything should be manufactured in the US. That's not an announcement, that's just my personal feelings.
It's very simple. He was the first one that said, why can't it be done? I want it. I want to make it. I want to experience VR. And he's done it. And he fought the fight of making the world. Again, the 90s we failed with that. Again, he had the ability, being Palmer here, ability to persuade, investors and persuade, CEOs and operators and marketing people that there is something there. And then he brought it out and he made it happen. Now, you're talking about the ability of taking what he came with and doing it, more affordable, you need to, if you go in and you do what you do a great job, and then you move in and Lenovo will come in and take you over, and they put the billions of dollars that's going to be required to make what he's doing a reality, a consumer product, because it takes billions. It doesn't take startups. So if you do that, you go with his strategy to create a platform, you market it the way they're marketing, you build an app store, you have that level of vision, you can compete, anybody can compete, and everybody will compete. Because he made it a place that everybody wants to be in.
If I could just add to that, I think where the US has a real advantage is in the software. So I think a lot of international players can do hardware really, really well. But still, I think the US produces the best software. And software is a huge component of VR. And so I think the US stands in a very strong position.
Just to add really briefly on that, that's one of the reasons that I think we've seen. That's one of the reasons that companies like Apple have a really strong foothold in the U.S. It's not necessarily the hardware. I mean, the hardware is made in China, and I think that actually the Chinese phone industry is really fascinating. There's some very high quality stuff being made in China that's being sold for way cheaper than anything here, and it's all very high quality stuff. But they don't have that big brand name recognition and dollars to build a software ecosystem that's able to support it. Now, Android's made a huge difference in that because now. Prior to Android, I've actually been a big fan of open source hardware and electronics for a very long time. There was a lot of interesting stuff in China and in South Korea. Does anyone remember when portable media players were a thing? All those PMP, MP4, XE, 3D, things you could buy, and you could play games and movies and music and all this stuff on them. And this was all pre-Android, and they were all creating their own little stuff, based on Rock OS or something, derivative of Linux, and none of them were really gaining any traction because they didn't have a common ecosystem. And now all of a sudden that Android exists, a lot of these handheld gaming devices and media players coming out of the Asian markets, they have something that they can rally around that really gives them a good shot at competing, not just in China, but in the global marketplace.
Just one advice for you guys. Go to Tencent. Get them partner with you. Then you have a chance.
I'm so sorry for everybody still online, but we are at the very end of our session. Please join me in thanking our panelists.